Make a come, make a pom pom pom, make a come, make a keep body pom pom pom. Your body kakara, make a pom pom pom, on a make it.
Hey, you guys, and welcome back. You're tuning in to the 5th episode of Nowhere to Hide. So, this episode is going to be a little bit of a continuation on my identity series, but before I get into that, I'm not going to gloss over the fact that it's been a while since I've posted another episode, and the only thing I can really say is life. That's all I can really blame is life. I'm still adjusting to post grad and just creating some sort of routine for myself. I currently am serving at a hotel, and when I tell you I work nights, my whole routine is out of whack. Like, I don't wake up till late because I work late, and only working nights for like the past 2 years has low-key been getting to me, and just juggling that job plus my personal life and just my relationships, seeing family and friends. And I could really talk like several episodes for my life right now, but it's been a lot doing all that whilst juggling this podcast and, being my own like marketer and graphic designer, editor, like everything. It's been a journey. Still loving it though. Like, I'm still loving the energy and what you guys have been giving me, the support as well. Like, just already from the last episode, the little replies and like people who have reached out, it's meant a lot. Like, the little attention, like just any attention, it's what's keeping me going. Just knowing that, I'm helping people out and people are actually receiving the message that I'm trying to give out. So I appreciate the support so far. More to come. But yeah, it's been a ride. Just know that I am slowly but surely creating a routine for myself to where I'm not going to be making you guys wait this long forever. I'm going to be changing my schedule soon, having just a routine for myself to where I can pump out episodes more regularly. But now, let's jump into the main idea for today. And the main topic is going to be fear of disappointing our parents. And when I say fear of disappointing our parents, let me describe to you guys like what a person who is struggling with this fear and like anxiety may go through. So, starting with lying, using lying as a safety in some sort of way, or just, fear of expressing themselves or individuality, just being their authentic self around their parents. And a third one that I really thought of was just lack of autonomy, potentially your whole life, depending on how in too deep you are with that. But I have curated what, like, just a little name for this that we can call it. And it's called fear of disappointment disorder. Now, don't let me lose you yet, because when I tell you, I got a lot to say with this, it'll mean a lot. It'll open eyes. But fear of disappointment disorder, guys. What exactly is FDD? I will tell you. It is the literal fear of disappointing your parents and not being the child that they just idolize you to be. And it can affect you at all ages. I'm telling you, it's not just, me being in my 20s and going through, like, this is stuff that'll start as little as being a kid that can follow you to as old as your adult life. Like, you'll be in your 50s still, catering to only your parents' needs, like putting just their feelings and stuff before yours. Which, when I'm talking about this, before we really get into it, I'm not saying with this whole episode and what I may be getting into that, you should just not care what your parents think, like just do whatever. It's healthy to still care about what they think depending on how much they weigh in your life, but you know, there's a healthy amount of caring what they think and there's an unhealthy amount that may, interfere with your own personal life. But good news is that fear of disappointment disorder is not only self-diagnosable. You know yourself, you know if this is a problem for you. But it is self-treatable as well. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys about just not only how to spot if you have it, just how to handle it as well, and just how to cope with it on a regular basis so it won't be just overpowering your life like it can for some people. And the way I'm going to be doing this is I want to appeal to all age groups. Like, I want to discuss how it is dealing with that as a kid, as a teenager, in your 20s and what I've observed from just adults who may have that issue as well. Because I'm not really in my adult life, but I have like witnessed some adults who still, you can tell, still have that hold, like, or that their parents still have that hold on to them. But let's start with the child's perspective of having fear of disappointment. So, that I believe is like the earlier stages of having that FDD, to where it begins with school, it begins with the grade anxiety. Just, I've talked about it in my past episodes, just having that grade anxiety with my parents. Oh, the report cards are coming, feeling the need to change certain things, or, they ask how I did on a test. If it was bad, my first inkling isn't to tell them the truth just because I know how hard they want me to work and try in school. And, me getting a bad grade to them, I feel like is, up, she didn't try. When in reality, I did try, I just am still not that good. But that grade anxiety just later goes into just continuous lying just about anything, just in order to get a more positive reaction back instead of having to deal with the negative consequence of telling the truth. But going into the teenage years, you're already going into the teenage years knowing that, telling little white lies brings you peace. Like, it saves you, it gets you out of having to have a potentially rough conversation with your parent. But you're going in thinking like that. So, you apply that to things like as a woman or as a girl at the time, like having crushes. And my dad, as little as when I was just, who knows, as little as I can remember, you're not having a boyfriend till you graduate college. So, of course, I'm going to go back to that lying mindset. If I have a crush on a boy, do not tell parents about that. They already know. Like, you already know they don't want that for you. So, you're already lying about that. College career. At the time, I didn't know I wanted to go into podcasting. Like, that would be such a passion of mine. But I like the art scene. I like painting. I paint in my free time. I did theater in high school. Acting was kind of like a career path I almost wanted to get into. But again, it's like I didn't wanna tell my parents that when they'd ask me what did I wanna do in life, because I had already heard my parents say, especially my dad, I forgot what conversation I had way back when, but he had mentioned how just acting, like, that's a life of just struggle. You don't know when you're going to get your career rolling, whatever. It's like, just again, you're asked about your career. First thing isn't to really tell what you're so passionate about. It's just you apply that to that. Calling, going to a certain get together, going to a sleepover, like just having already that FDD foundation. I'm gonna keep bringing it back to the disorder, guys. Like, it's just, and we didn't realize back then it was just setting us up for when we want to break out of that, which is where I am right now, the 20s. You're already away from school, out from under the roof, under, their rules and regulations. And that's where you need to ask yourself. And that's where I asked myself, just who are you wanting to answer to? Whose life are you wanting to live? But again, it's easier said than done. Because even though you're out from under the roof, they may be, helping you pay with college, doing a lot of things where it makes you feel tied to them and still feel obligated to do just what they say and what you need to do. But again, what did I say before? There's a fine line to where it's healthy to listen to your parents and go down that route, and it's unhealthy and it's bringing you down and it's not really making you follow what you're wanting to follow for yourself. To pull from my own life, I feel like, honestly speaking, I didn't really start to truly live my life for myself until this year, really starting this podcast. And I feel like, let me go back to, let me honestly take you guys back a second to 2022. Yes, 2022. Because August of 2022 is when I turned 21 and I visited my cousin Ludovic in New York. And my cousin Ludovic, he's doing really well in just the art scene. He was probably just one of the first of our cousins to kind of break away from what our, parents and aunts, our family expected of us and just do what he wanted to do. And he was successful at it. And, I basically visited him with my boyfriend Josh. We went over and, we just saw the fruits of his labor, like everything that he's worked for. And it was a great thing to see. Showed me around New York. Me and Josh went and saw Bad Bunny, blah, blah, blah. But I just remember he took me out for dinner. It was me, Josh, him, and my cousin Archie, his brother. And, we were just talking about life and I was close to finishing school, talking about school, career choice, and he just asked me, I remember, what do you want to do? And I told him, even though I'm getting my psychology degree, I don't really want to use my degree right away after school. I, want to do something for myself. And podcasting was just one of those forms of expression that I saw online that I could really like feed off of. I'm a talker. I know I'm a talker. I think I'm funny. I have a debate with one of my cousins. They don't think, but I'm a funny girl. I know I can entertain people. Like I knew these things that I had about myself I could really prosper with. And social media is the game of life right now. Like, social media is what you use to be successful, at least right now in this day and age. And he was fully in support of it. My cousin Archie was fully in support of it, but they were telling me just about how I need to break away from the scared part of it. Because even though I was saying all that to them, I was just talking about just, it kept going back to my parents. Like, I'm just worried about what they're going to think. They wanted me to go to school, not to just after I get my degree and waste all their money, I just don't do anything with it. Like right now, people who graduated like me, they're using their degrees and getting their 9 to 5s and stuff, but I don't know, there's just something in me where I just cannot bring myself to do this 9 to 5. I'm yeah, I could go into it. I could go into my life forever, guys, but just I knew what I wanted to do, and he put it to me simple that I need to follow what I want to do. Like, I need to go with my dream. It just went back to him. I see everything that he's done, and would he have done it if he listened to our parents? And the answer is simply no. If he had listened to our parents, I really don't know where that man would have been, honestly, because he went to school like for what he wanted to do. And honestly, like, psychology still plays into my podcast heavily. I still don't regret going in for psychology, but I feel like if anything, I would have picked a different minor that would play a little bit into just the arts, something that I really like. But, I did sociology, which still plays into psychology, but everyone who studied sociology, they know it's just, yeah. But going back to what I was saying before, just this year, because that was back in 2022, it's 2024. So I finally knew after that trip that I'm gonna do, like, one day I'm gonna get the courage, but I'm gonna do what this man told me to do and just follow my gut. It's just about how I'm gonna just tell the people I need to tell and roll with it. But this year I'm doing it. Like, I'm finally putting my stuff out there. I'm having the support of my family, which is great. Yeah, I may be talking about things that my family may not all be 100% in support of, but I'm literally doing what I want to do. I am spending my time doing what I want to be doing. And if that's not the dream, I don't know what is. But this is the first time in my life where I feel like I'm really like I'm doing things for me, especially when it comes to not only career path and when I'm grinding doing with this podcast stuff, but in my personal life as well. Like the people I keep around me. I'm not just keeping people around me because of convenience. Like I know the type of people I need around me who deserve to have my time and who don't. Like just I feel really good about this year, and hopefully this energy follows me and keeps following me and keeps following me because a lot's to come. But 20s, I feel like even though I'm still there, I still also have that guilt too. Like I'm not completely cured of my FDD, guys, and who knows if we ever will be. It's just about coping. And even though I'm doing what I want to be doing right now with my podcast, I still have that guilt, like, truthfully with the last episode. It's like I still have that little girl in me who knows my parents' beliefs, my parents' values, and, my family's, not even just my parents, my family's beliefs and values that are in there. And just, you know, I wonder, oh, if I'm releasing this episode that talks about something that they don't like, am I bringing shame to my family? Am I doing this? Now, everything I'm saying right now, guys, is that's the anxiety talking. At the end of the day, I'm still going to post what I think is right, what I think needs to be heard. And I do not regret my last episode in the slightest, but it's still that guilt that I'm trying to say, that fear of disappointment. Like I said, it's always there. It's just a matter of, do we let it outweigh what we want to do with our life? Or, set it aside and do what we think is right, what we need to do because it is our life. It is our life. But moving on to adult years when it comes to fear of disappointment disorder. When I was thinking about this, it honestly took me to the shows called Yellowstone, Bloodline, if y'all have heard of those. But those shows basically, like, the main characters are like characters. One, it's a family show. Like, the characters are all in a family pretty much, with the occasional side characters, but the family dynamic is very toxic and it involves the parents bossing around these main characters who are probably in between the ages of like late 30s and like early 50s or so. But it displays a dynamic of these grandparent of parents still treating their grown ass children like they're still in high school or kids, and the children are just they're just taking it. Like, Yellowstone is a little bit more corrupt. It's definitely just about a very rich family who owns the ranch, and it just shows like what too much money and too much land can do to people, thinking that they're above the law and they can get away with anything. But in Yellowstone specifically, they all have all that money and the ranch is being left to the children perhaps, and they're all taking care of it, and just the dad still bossing his kids around, go do this, go do that, like they're not grown adults who still may want to do more with their lives than just take care of that Yellowstone ranch. But those ones, since I don't really have, like, my family personally doesn't really display that for me to pull from, but just watching shows like that, honestly, and hearing from people that I know personally, they talk about their family and it displays that sort of dynamic to where if you don't listen to mom and dad, then you're going to be casted out or you're just going to be seen as, but I feel like despite my family's disagreements and stuff, we'll still love each other and still come together. But I feel like in those family dynamics, it can be very conditional. But yeah, adults, in saying all this, adults can still very much have FDD, very much so. But now we've been through all the stages, like from child dealing with FDD to potentially being an adult still going through that. But now it's just about spotting and handling the FDD, y'all. And how to do that is just on a regular basis. I literally encourage you to just, whenever it may arise, who knows if you're dealing with it on a regular basis or it'll just happen every once in a while where you'll do something for yourself or just something in general. And your first anxiety is just, what will your parents think? Obviously, if you're a child still under their roof, that's a normal thing. Get used to it until you leave, unfortunately. But I feel like when it really, really matters, still shouldn't let it hold over your life, like when you're in high school or under the roof. But, specifically when you're out in the world, like I am, trying to do stuff for yourself, make your place in life, that is when that needs to diminish some. And just pinpoint that for yourself on a regular basis. If it's just you're out with friends for a birthday and it's getting late, but you're still paying your rent at your apartment, paying your bills, doing this and that, but you're still worried, just when you're feeling that anxiety, tell yourself that it's your life. I know it sounds corny, cheesy, therapy is corny and cheesy sometimes, but whenever you get that little anxiety, just tell yourself it is your life. At the end of the day, in your life, in the end, you are just left with what you have done and created for yourself. And when it's the end, you don't want it to be someone else's dream, what someone else wanted for you. And then you're realizing, this isn't really what I wanted in the first place. Just remind yourself that it's your life. You deserve this. Like, this is just, at the end of the day, it'll be okay. Because love shouldn't be conditional. Love is unconditional, at least in the perfect family. But when love is unconditional, no matter what you should do, no matter what you should decide, the people who are around you who love you and should stick beside you will stick beside you. And I feel like that's where I'm going to draw this episode to an end. Remember, fear of disappointment, disorder. Check yourself. Try and see if you have it. Help yourself if you need it. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. To those who do, please remember to hit the subscribe button and just, follow me. Keep in touch when I post a new episode, and hope to hear from you guys too. And my link tree is in the description below so you can see my socials as well as at the end screen. But have a good one, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for support. Have a good day.